Hello, and welcome to Enlightened World Network. It is my great pleasure to welcome Kevin Schoeninger, and he is the author of Clear, Quiet Mind. We welcome him today to Author's Corner, and he is in fact our first guest for Author's Corner. So this is a special celebration and a very special day. So welcome, Kevin.
Thank you. Thank you, Stephen. It's a pleasure to be here.
I'd like to share a little bit about you and about also your book and the way that it resonated with me. One of the big things, I've met Kevin prior to this and only through Zoom and through similar media. And one of the things that has struck me about Kevin is his clear space, his clear resonance, his inner peace. And the book that he has written, Clear, Quiet Mind, is a beautiful example of how, in very simple steps, you can live a clear, quiet mind. You can work your way through a process that he's outlined to inner peace. When I read the book, I was immediately struck by how I was taken through a process just by reading it, which brought me to a state of calm and peace, and also a greater wisdom about my life and how I could take steps to bring about that inner peace. I shared your book with my wife, and we were both immediately struck by how beautifully transformative it was for our family.
Thank you.
We had an experience just through the book itself, and that really touched me. It touched my heart. And it touched the way that I could connect with you. Some books, of course, we read a bit more at a distance, but your book, I felt I was right there. As I said in my review of the book, I was particularly touched by many of the practical examples that you shared, including that of your mother and her passing, and how deeply that experience resembled my own. And these practical examples all throughout the book really woke me up. I think any reader reading your book would be really touched and would find a very transformative experience just from the reading of Clear, Quiet Mind. I know you've had many experiences throughout your life, and particularly you detailed an experience where you went on a 1-month-long trek and how transforming that was for you. And I could really relate to that. Coming from New Zealand, I understood how much that can affect you and how it can leave you also transformed. So I was just wondering, perhaps if we could start by sharing some of the steps on the path that have been transformative, that have led to you uncovering this wonderful process of a clear, quiet mind.
Okay, great. Thank you. Well, I'd like to start with sharing a dream I've had. It's a recurring dream I've had, and I know you can relate to dreams.
Very much.
So this is not a visionary dream and not a dream I've cherished, but it is a dream that kind of set me on a path. And this dream has recurred throughout my life, not so much anymore, but it's a dream where I could be in any number of different circumstances, and I'm unprepared, I don't have what I need, and I can't find where I need to go. So it could be some examples of this where I have a test to take, but I haven't studied, and I can't find my notes, and I can't even find the classroom where the test is to be taken. And I'm just wandering around until I get more and more and more. Or a funnier example is I'm going to play golf, and I'm going to tee off on the first tee, but I can't find my tees. And then I can't figure out where to hit the ball. I can't see where it is. And each time I move, I seem to get more lost. And there's this theme of I'm not prepared, I don't have what I need, and I'm getting more and more lost. And I feel somehow that's what I felt like as an early in my life as a child, that somehow I was dropped here and I wasn't prepared and I didn't have what I needed and I didn't know where to go. And I felt that way when in my freshman year at college, for one real life example, how the dream relates to real life. I got there and I didn't know what I was going to study, and I didn't go to orientation, so I didn't know where to go, and I felt completely like a fish out of water, like I didn't belong, I didn't fit in. And so I began my first spiritual practice then of, I decided that I needed some structure and something to orient my life and something to help me feel everything was okay. And I decided to read the Bible cover to cover, 3 pages a day for a year.
That is some task.
That is a task. And something inspired me to do it. I'd never done it before. I hadn't been much of a Bible reader, but I said I was just got the inspiration to do this. And through the course of that year, I developed a fascination with the life of Jesus and what he did. And I also found an astonishing lack of guidance about how to do what he did. And he said right in there that you will do things even greater than I will. Yet there was no instruction on, well, how do you go about doing that? There were some cryptic sayings, at least cryptic to me at that time, but I didn't get any guidance. And when I went to some churches to try to find out more and what is the practice and how do I do this, and I found a tremendous lack of guidance and a lack of practice there as well. So it was a bunch of words, but people weren't practicing these words. And so this led me to go off and read in other disciplines or other traditions. Lao Tzu, The Way of Life, Tao Te Ching, was one that really resonated with me. And it was at that time that I was reading Lao Tzu and also Krishnamurti, The Waking of Intelligence, that I went on this trek out into the wilderness of Colorado and Utah. And over a month of backpacking and hiking through the wilderness, and just a lot of just sitting and just taking in the landscape and just being quiet and just being still and experiencing the spaciousness of the sky and the spaciousness of the land, something was awakened in me. There was a deep inner peace and a calm and a comfort and also a joy just in being, and a sense that I didn't need anything else except the air to breathe in or the sunshine to shine on my face or just the feeling of my body and moving my body. And I felt free and I felt clear, and that was a new experience for me, because much of my life I had felt anxious and worried and a lot like in my dream, like I didn't know where I was going. But out there in the wilderness, I found something. I found an awareness, awakening of an awareness. And I wanted to know more about that. So I came back from that and I wanted to know how to repeat that experience, how to grow that experience, how to have that be where I came from. And that led me into, initially Tai Chi was the first practice. And in Tai Chi, I found that same experience, by moving in this slow sensation, my body and the environment around me, I also started to touch into that experience, this deeper presence, this spacious awareness. And this led me to Tai Chi touched into that for me, but I wanted to go into it deeper. And that led me into Qigong meditation, which is when I'm sitting in Qigong, I can more easily focus inside and feel the sensations inside the body. And that awakened this sensation of this energy in my body and this presence that was flowing through these meridians and channels and organs and in my body. And that led me to Reiki, whereas Reiki was taking that inner sensation of qi and life energy and elevating the vibration of it and infusing it with this divine love and light. So it not only was the energy there and the presence there, but the frequency of that energy and that presence felt lighter, felt more open and spacious and loving. And over the years, then I experimented with many different systems and techniques, Kriya Yoga and heart math. But this original sort of primary experience I had was the origin of that. And that carried me forward to where I am today and to writing this book, which is, I've tried to boil down 4 significant steps and also 4 significant skills, inner skills, that anyone can use to arrive at this state. And not so much that it's a state, but it's deeper than a state. It's just the nature of who we are. This spacious presence, this energy of love and light.
Mm. Could you outline for the listeners those 4 stages and perhaps the 4 inner skills? I know to really understand it, and like me, to have an experience of it, you really do need to read your book. But just to give people listening a taste of how they might go about that prior to reading your book.
Yeah. So the first step is recognizing where you're coming from. So for instance, I could be coming from the experience I had in my recurring dream, right, where I felt anxious and lost. And that would, if I was coming from that place, I would look out at the world and see it as kind of a scary alien place. And I would probably want to run and hide. Or I might want to hole up and just read a book, which I've done plenty during my life. Whereas if where I'm coming from is this experience of this spacious presence, this underlying support from life, then when I look out at the world, I see that everywhere. I see that in everyone. And it gives me a whole different relationship to other people, other beings, and the planet. So where I'm coming from determines what experience I'm going to have. And the primary mistake that we all make at times is to think that the experience I'm having is the way things are. Okay, so not a choice, not an option, not something that could be changed, but this is the way things are. For example, this is the way things are for me in my life, and I'm always going to feel anxious and worried and like an alien here, right? If I thought that's the way things are, then I would not be open to other possibilities, right? And I would continue to recycle that dream in my real life. And I would just live it again and again and again. And I'd see it, evidence for it everywhere, because that's what I was looking for, right? So whatever we're looking for, whatever we're focused on, and how we're relating to that determines the experiences that we have. So that's the first step, is to learn to recognize where we're coming from. And there's some specific practices in the book which are tools to, and that leads you into the second step. Well, sometimes where you're coming from isn't a place you want to be coming from. And you keep reliving it again and again and again, and you'd like to have a different experience. And so the step 2 in the book is techniques and tools and insights to help you let go of how you think things are so that something else can happen in your life. Okay, and so and again, I've tried to make the book very practical, as you were talking about, in terms of there's exercises that you can go through and have an experience. And because it's one thing just to hear me talk or to hear these concepts, but when you practice something, when you have an experience, that's what shifts you. That's what opens something new. And then the third step is this connection with this open, clear, spacious awareness. And as I described, I first had that out in the wilderness, and being out in nature is a great way to connect with that experience. But there's some specific inner cues that we can use, that we can focus into, that are portals into that experience, that carry our awareness there and awaken that awareness within us. And so step 3 is taking you through different practices to take you into that open, clear, spacious awareness, that clear, quiet mind. And then within that open, clear, spacious awareness, new possibilities arise. We become more tuned into our intuition, more tuned into the guidance that is always coming to us within that open, clear space. And so the fourth part of the book is some techniques and tools to help us access that guidance, access our intuition, and access the inner knowing that is always speaking to us.
Beautiful. That's a really beautiful summary. Thank you. I really related to the book exactly how you're describing, and certainly to anybody listening, I would say I thoroughly recommend buying Kevin's book purely for some of the basic practices that it gives you, because as Kevin says, without the practice, you can listen, but you may not necessarily experience to the depth that he's relating. So truly, the book does do that on a very deep level. So thank you. Kevin, would you say there's been a primary struggle in your life that has kind of propelled you through this in order to try and uncover really what the solution to that struggle was, and how has this turned into a gift for you?
Nice. Well, one thing that, besides this recurring dream I had, there was another theme in my early childhood, is that people would say, "Why are you so quiet? Why are you," as if there was really something wrong with me, that I was so quiet. And this was a real character flaw and a defect that I had. And this related to also me being a highly sensitive person, in terms of the input of the world felt like a lot to me. It felt like overwhelming to be here. And that, and I felt kind of small and weak and inadequate to what this world was demanding of me. And so that experience led me into I would say probably my first practice or training, which was weight training and strength training, because I felt so kind of insecure and weak that I needed to bulk up a little bit, right? I needed to.
Love it.
For inner strength, I was looking for some muscle strength. And one thing that taught me was actually the strength training was my first spiritual practice, in that it taught me to really concentrate and focus on, with weight training, you're focusing on the muscle that you're working and contracting that muscle. You're also focusing on the inner sensations that are happening inside your body and being present to that. And the effort of strength training actually is a phenomenal mindfulness practice. And I would guess I started that at the age of 12. And I think that was my first exercise and focused concentration.
Yeah.
And then later on, I developed that, and I became a personal trainer. And then later, 18 through 23, was led into Tai Chi, and then kind of blended all that together into this mind-body training practice. And so that struggle that I had led me into this whole field of mind-body training. And it ended up being a great gift. The fact that I didn't feel strong led me to want to get stronger. And the fact that I didn't feel guided led me to want to find guidance. And the fact that I felt insecure led me to want to find deep inner peace. And so all those struggles became gifts that brought me to where I am today.
Oh, beautiful. That really is beautiful. I feel strong just by listening to you. Stronger. Thank you. Tell me, what do you think readers will get from buying your book? So if they were to buy it, what do you think is the major takeaway, the major thing that they would be left with after reading your book?
Well, I hope a couple things. One thing is that the way things are isn't the way things are. Okay, that the experience you're having is one possibility amongst an infinite number of possibilities, and that opening up those infinite possibilities can be found by going deep inside and finding this ground of being, this open, clear, spacious awareness, this deeper presence that is always supporting you, that is the divine within you. And so I hope just that possibility just sparks a reader to say, oh, I want to know more about that. I want to find that for myself. And then secondly, from that inspiration, to try some of the practices. And maybe some of them will be real awakening and real eye-opening, and can be something that can be a foundation for a daily inner practice. And because for me, I find that that's the first thing I do first thing I do in the morning is to wake up and do this daily mind-body training, this meditation practice, which takes me into this wonderful state of being that I just feel so happy to be able to experience and to share.
Wonderful. Look, you've led right into right into one question as we're nearing the end of the interview, and that is, can you share a simple practice? Because you're talking about the importance of practice, and I thoroughly agree. Could you share a simple practice, either from your own personal experience or from the book, that listeners could use, understand, and take away? And perhaps practice as they're working through your book, or practice in their daily lives.
So do you want a 1-minute practice or a 6-minute practice?
Let's go. Why don't we go for the 6-minute? Because I'm always a believer that the real depth does come when you spend a little bit of time. And I think if people have 6 minutes somewhere in their day, then that's going to be an enormous addition to their life and to this inner quietude and stillness. So I'll go for the 6 minutes. Yes, please. Okay. 6 minutes for me.
Okay, let's do it. So if you just find yourself a comfortable seat and place your soles of your feet flat on the ground, and rest your hands cupped in your lap. So one in the other with your thumbs touching lightly. Yes. And then lightly close your eyes. Now let's begin by focusing down into the soles of both feet. And feel the sensation of your feet on the ground. And allow your feet and your toes to soften and relax, as if they're melting down into the ground. And then focus into your palms and fingers. And notice the sensations there. Feel the sensation of your hands resting in your lap. And allow your palms and fingers to soften and relax, as if they're melting down into your legs. And then focus to the top of your head and imagine a string attached to the top of your head. And allow that string to draw your spine gently upright, creating a feeling of vertical spaciousness right up through the core of your body, right up through your spine and through the top of your head. And then tuck your chin just slightly, lengthening the back of your neck. Roll the tip of your tongue to touch the roof of your mouth. And smile. A subtle smile of appreciation and gratitude for this moment to consciously relax and let go and experience a deeper presence inside. Allow that feeling of smiling to relax your jaw. And smile through your eyes. Release any tension from your eyebrows and your forehead. Allow that feeling of smiling to wash down through your whole body, creating a positive, nurturing inner environment for all your cells. And let's take several slow, deep breaths in and out through your nose only. Imagining as you breathe in that your whole body fills up with your breath. And imagine and feel as you breathe out that your whole body empties out. And then let go of your breathing and feel your body as a whole from the inside. Feel the entire space inside your skin. And allow a feeling of open, clear, spacious awareness to fill up your whole body. And allow that feeling of open, clear, spacious awareness to expand outward, to fill the entire room you're in. And allow that feeling to expand outward infinitely in all directions, to all beings and the whole planet. And outward through the whole universe. Enjoy this infinite presence. And absorb it now deeply into the cells of your body. So you can remember it. Bring it with you. And come back to it anytime you need. And now, again, feel your feet on the ground. And your hands in your lap. And the top of your head. And slowly open your eyes and take in the space around you. And feel that infinite presence with your eyes open. Namaste.
Kevin, thank you. That was really beautiful.
Thank you, Stephen.
Just in the last minute or so, I always feel when I have an experience like that, and I'm sure our listeners will feel the same, I feel like leaving in silence. So I'm extremely grateful for your presence today. I'd like to just leave on a note of the future and future projects and just ask, where is this all taking you? Is there something new in your life that has come about through these gifts that you have and through the beauty that you bring to this planet? What's the future holding for you right now?
Yes. Well, I'm feeling very fortunate right now to, with you, be a part of the Enlightened World online community. And so I'm going to be organizing and facilitating the meditations section of the online program. And looking forward to that. And looking forward to having some of your guided meditations and mine, and from people all over the world who want to share this with each other. So that's new, and I'm excited about it.
Thank you, Kevin. Well, look, thank you for your presence, your divine presence. It really was a great joy. And thank you, thank you, thank you. Namaste.
Likewise. Thank you.